Hey everybody, welcome to Cut, Transform, Glue, and to another episode of the Sniper Spaceship build. In this episode, we'll finally enter the detailing phase, which in my opinion is the most fun part of any build. And to begin the detailing process of this big project, I'll start by detailing the sniper. And yeah, so just like I did in the beginning of this project, I began from the sniper, and the detailing phase I will also begin by the sniper and then move on to the other parts of this big project. I'll also make this piece right here. I'll show you guys how I made this one. This is what I call a shell crusher. I'll try to explain my idea in the video. But yeah, let's get to the build. So this is how the sniper is right now. It has like the basic structures, but it doesn't have any details onto it. And it also has this space right here in the bottom where I'll add the shell crusher. Now to begin building that shell crusher, I'll just look for some big pieces, some big gribblies. So as you can see, I reached into my big gribblies box, and after a while I ended up choosing these pieces right here. So I'll use those big pieces to create the basic structure for the shell crusher. And now that I have these pieces in hand, I can start shaping them. So I'll begin by using my disc sander to give those pieces like a nice shape so that I can create some and put some stuff on the top of it. I know some of you guys might be wondering what is a shell crusher, so let me just go ahead and try to explain you guys the idea behind it all. Now, I'm just gonna go ahead and first say that this is just a cool idea to make some nice looking models. So I'm just trying to have some fun right here. This is probably unpractical and unrealistic, and I'm aware of that. Of course, you guys know that this is a sniper spaceship, and a sniper shoots bullets. I could have gone with lasers or maybe rockets, but somehow I thought that the idea of a sniper that shoots bullets from space would look cooler. But with that comes some challenges. If I went with lasers are basically light, and I would just have to add some energy sources to the spaceship, either solar panels or something like that. But as I'm going with bullets have the challenge of being like physical, and with that I had to add some structures to the sniper. So from the beginning of the project, I knew that I needed to have a box that would be the ammunition box, and I'll have to deal with the shells of those bullets being shot. And I also thought that it would look cooler if I made like a structure that would crush those shells and make them compact instead of launching them into space, creating space debris. So yeah, this is the idea, this is like the concept that went through my head when I was creating the sniper spaceship right from the beginning. But let me go back to the build process and the techniques that I'm using. So as you saw in the video, I've glued some gribblies together, and now I'm putting some styrene to the sides of it, and right here I'm trying to create a nice looking shape for the shell crusher. I've started with the box, but I decided to create this curve right here into the inside of the box, making it interesting, and in that gap I'll fit these pieces right here. Now to cover that curved hole left in there, I've printed this piece right here. This is 3D printed. To keep that 3D printed piece in place, I just had to add some CA glue to it, and then the box was complete and I could move on to adding some details to it. Now let me just go ahead and show you guys how I was able to create that 3D printed piece with such precise measurements. So with a ruler I went on the side of the piece and I took some measurements, and I found this triangle right here, and I was able to find the perfect angles for that piece. And of course I did that to the sides as well, and I've created these pieces right here. These are just some 3D printed pieces to add details to the side and make the box look interesting. They were also glued in place with some sea glue, and you can see there's a hole right in the middle of it, and into that hole I'll fit the piece that looks like a nozzle. So the idea behind it all is that those boxes, those supply boxes, they have to maneuver themselves, and to me those pieces look like some tiny thrusters. So this is the idea behind it. Off camera, I've added these details right here around the Lego piece that connects the crusher to the sniper, and then I found this piece right here, this electronic piece. This is the piece that I'll try to keep in its original finishing. I don't want to paint over it, and this is also the piece that gives the idea of a crusher to this box. And just as a quick and fun challenge, leave me a comment if you know where this came from. But anyways, I've printed this piece right here with some brass inserts so that I can easily attach this motor to the side of the box, and I can, like, in this way I can keep it in its original finishing. And then I also made this tiny piece right here, which is a slot that I'll use to attach another piece that goes into that motor and makes the whole thing looks like it's able to crush things inside of it. Now obviously this is not meant to be touched when this is complete. I just want to left it in a nice pose, but this way I think I can give the better idea of something that can like rock back and forth, and I feel like this gives a nice finishing to the piece. Then I applied a coat of primer just to see where this was going, and I could start adding some details to that structure. Then I've put some work into the side tube that goes right here, and with a screw and a brass insert I can keep that in place. After that I added some surface details and I've applied the final coat of primer, and this is the final shape of the shell crusher. Now let's move on to the second structure that I've added to the sniper, and this is, I call this the heat shields of the barrel. Again, just a cool idea that I had to add some details to the sniper, not real at all, just to have some fun. Let me show you how I made it. With the measurements, with the precise measurements of the barrel of the gun, I've created this piece right here, which was 3D printed. I've printed a bunch of those, and those were glued to a tiny strip of MDF. The idea right here is to create a shield that can rotate around the barrel of the gun, protecting it from the heat of the sun. So this is the structure that I'm creating. Right here I'm using some baking soda to make the sea glue bond stronger, and then onto the top of that MDF piece I'll glue some laptop keyboard keys just to give it an interesting look. I gave it some light sanding just to remove that familiar look of a keyboard key, and I've had to make 3 of those to cover the entire length of the barrel. I just have to remove the tip of the barrel and I can fit all 3 of them onto the barrel nice and precisely. Now I don't want this to look like loose in the barrel, I want to give the impression that those can be like controlled. So I've printed also these pieces right here that I'll use to create some structure to keep all 3 of them like together. They have the same inside diameters of the other ones, so they fit nice and precisely onto the barrel, and I'll glue 2 of those to each of the shield elements. And to make it look interesting, I'll fit a tiny steel rod onto those holes that are onto the 3D printed piece, so that I can make the 3 of them go together and look interesting. And I'll use a piece of MDF just to control the position of those pieces that go from the outside and make them like glued in the same place. I want to make like it consistent on the three of them, and after a while this is the end result. Each of these shield elements has these two pieces on the outside, and then I can fit a steel rod and make it look like they are a single structure that look interesting. Now of course I'll add some surface details to those shields just to make it a little more interesting, a little more detailed. And after that I just realized that the shields elements, they don't look like they can move by themselves. So I've came up with this idea right here. I've printed this piece right here, this yellow piece, to go onto in between each of the shield elements. And this yellow piece has like this tiny hole into the side where I'll fit this greebly right here. And the idea behind it all is that the shield elements are controlled with some sort of gyroscope force provided by those tiny wheels. I know this probably doesn't make any sense, but it looks cool, right? And this is the final shape of the heat shield elements from the barrel. And now that I have like these two very important elements from the sniper, like the shell crusher and the heat shields from the barrel, I can add details to the whole structure, to the whole sniper. So these are some tiny bolts that I've printed, some tiny bolts with some nut that I've printed on my Ender 3, and I'll use them to add details to the rest of the structures of the sniper. I'll just glue it with some CA glue to wherever I feel it fits. And to be honest, I didn't know that my Ender 3 was going to be able to print such a tiny detail, and I think it looks nice. But of course, I've also used some Griblies, so I reached into my tiny Griblies box, my tiny Griblies collections, and I've started adding some tiny details to all the other parts of the gun. And also at this point I've used my rivet making tool. There's a video on the channel if you want to make yourself one of those. And after that I threw the final coat of primer onto the whole thing, and this is the end result. I think that now the sniper has the amount of detail that I was expecting. Of course I didn't add too many details. There are some parts that are nice and smooth without any rivets or bolts or anything like that, and I think this is important to make like the overall design interesting and not too overwhelming. But I'm really happy with the shell crusher, with the heat shields, and I think this adds to the narrative of the whole piece. In the next videos I'll start by adding some details to the other structures of the sniper spaceship, and I'll try to make that as cool as possible. And this is how the sniper looks attached to the spaceship. I'm super happy with the end result, and I think it looks badass, just like a sniper has to look. But yeah, this is it for this video, guys. If you watched this far in the video, thank you so much. And also I wanna make a shout out for my Ko-fi and Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your support and for your generosity. Make sure to check my Patreon page, the link is on the description box, and right there you can donate me like monthly, and you can have access to my Discord channel. We can chat right there, and also all of the pieces that you guys have seen right here on this video, the 3D printed pieces, are available for my combat robot tier supporters. But this is it for now, and as always, thanks for watching.